What's going on, 49er faithful, 49er fam, 49er gang? This is your boy 49er Dion back here with another video. So definitely, you know what I'm saying, we're going to get the particulars out the way. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on any and everything San Francisco 49ers. So with that being said, let's jump right on into it, people. So, get a notification on Twitter, and it says that NFL facilities are going to be opening up. So basically, they're going to start to allow at least 50 people from personnel to be in the building. The coaches are not allowed to return yet. The players are not allowed to return yet. But if you are there, you have the strength and conditioning coach. And if you're rehabbing, then you're allowed to be in the building. So that's a good thing. The NFL has been on track to basically start the season on time with fans in the stands, no restrictions, no nothing, save for the possibility that I'm 100% sure most likely you are going to see the implementation of them telling you got to wear a mask. Now, this is a plus and a minus when it comes to the mask. The plus is you protect yourself from, catching any kind of coronavirus or anything like that, because people do cough and sneeze out in public. It happens. I mean, you go to California, you get a big gust of pollen up your nose. This is a high probability you're going to sneeze. And it doesn't mean you're sick or you got anything. It just means you sneeze. But in today's times, hell, you got to fart and sneeze at the same time just so people don't look at you funny or look at you crazy. So with that being said, I'm pretty sure that California will be the last one to open up. They just extended their stay-at-home stay for like 3 more months, which kind of sucks ass. Because it kind of cuts off the borders, man. And I'm trying to get through to California, but can't, man. They ain't let nobody in, they ain't let nobody out. So, basically, the NFL is definitely doing what they need to do to make sure that we get back on track and that the NFL is ready and ready to go for fans in the stands. I have heard that they may do preseason without fans in the stands, which I can understand. I mean, it's just preseason games. You want to go, you want to get out, you want to see them. But, if by the time preseason rolls around, the proper steps have been taken and things are good enough, then yeah, they might probably allow some things, but they may only allow a certain amount. I know that the owners would love to get things open and get things cracking on time. The reason being is because they stand to lose ridiculous amounts of money. The NBA owners had to take back some of the salary from the players because of all the money they were losing. Kevin Love, as a basketball player, started a fund for the people that worked in the stadiums because that's how they made their living, man. And they basically just sent them home and was like, fuck it. Hey, go home. Can't do it. Sorry. Bye. Peace. And it's like, okay, so how am I supposed to make money? How do I feed my family? How do I, survive? That you don't really have a contingency plan for an unplanned situation like this. I don't call it a pandemic because I don't like to give it life like that. Strictly based on the fact that there's a lot of things that I believe that other people may not. As far as with certain things like this, I'm not even gonna go there and get into all that. But I can easily say we should be good by the month of August. We should definitely have everything in place to be well ahead of this, beat it, make sure that, the testing is out there, all kinds of things. So, the next thing that I did see was I go on ESPN shoots me a notification. NFL shoots me a notification. So I get these notifications simultaneously that they are incentivizing franchises to hire minority candidates for different positions in their franchise. And how they're incentivizing them is by basically upping their draft picks. Now, I don't remember exactly what the particulars were, but I don't think I really need to remember what they were to even make my point. But to me, I think that's a crock of shit. 100%. So you mean to tell me that if you hire a person is technically considered a minority, that you get a better draft pick? It's the reason I say it's a crock of shit because you shouldn't have to do that. In this world that we live in today, if you look at it, certain things are dominated by certain races. Now, if you give yourself a little history lesson and you are possibly a religious person, race never really existed for a cool minute. Race was invented. Someone had to make sure there was a distinguishing value of life between one person and the next. If you look in the Bible, they don't mention black, white, Latin, Asian. They don't mention that. They mention where you were from, as in what city, what country, all of that stuff. But you never really hear, this person was black, this person was white, this, that, and the third. You don't really hear that. So, unfortunately, it exists. It has become a norm. And when you look at the NFL, there are a ton of white executives. We literally only have one minority owner, and that is, I believe, Shad Khan, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I do believe, I think maybe, if I'm not mistaken, Jennifer Lopez and A-Rod have a stake in the Miami Dolphins. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I'm not 100% sure on that one. But we only have a few minority GMs and we have a few minority head coaches. You got Mike Tomlin, you have Anthony Lynn, and I'm trying to think of all the other squads right now. And no. And I think we have like maybe 1 to 2 minority GMs. Now, what kills me is, so I get a reply from a guy. I'm getting a lot of, likes on my comment that I put up. I get a reply from a dude there that tells me, I feel like it's ridiculous that, we're sure thinking about race at this point. I think they just hired the best person for the job. Really? They hired the best person for the job. Let me make my point real quick, and I'm going to make this real swift and real smooth. They hired the best. Let me ask you a question. Eric Bieniemy has been the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs for the past couple of years. He's been doing a bang-up job. Typically, when you are an offensive coordinator and you do a really good job, even if you do it for a year, even 2, or even more than that, there are teams beating down your door to interview you about head coaching positions. Why? Because they want your offensive mind to help their offense to succeed so they can get to a Super Bowl and they can become relevant. I haven't seen really many interviews for Mr. Bieniemy. And he's a damn good offensive mind. But Matt Nagy got a head coaching job. Josh McDaniels has been offered several head coaching jobs. I mean, you see the common denominator here? GMs. I think we have one black GM in Cleveland. If there's another black GM, please somebody inform me. Put it in the comments. Let me know. I do not know. I don't see nobody. The other thing that I noticed is, for people when they make those comments like that, that shows that you're completely oblivious to what goes on around you. You know why? Because at the end of the day, it's obvious that white people get a bigger break when it comes to executive positions. This is blatantly obvious. Let's take Arizona, for example. In Arizona, Steve Wilkes had 1 year and Josh Rosen. Not very good. Steve Wilkes went, I believe, 4-12, if I'm not mistaken. And after 1 year, peace, gone, out. Relegated back to a defensive coordinating position job. 1 year. Cliff Kingsbury comes in. New head coach. Brand new quarterback. Ship Josh Rosen off to Miami. Bring in Kyler Murray. Now, in college, this man did not have a winning record. He did not have any NFL experience. And, he had a nice little system, but by no accounts was he supposed to be a head coach. But Cliff Kingsbury gets the job. He brings Kyler Murray along with him. And they went 4-12 again. But you don't see Cliff Kingsbury getting fired. Make sense now, people? So if anybody out there that's trying to play this card like it ain't got nothing to do with, black or white or Latino or Asian or whatever you want to call yourself, period, point blank, it does. It flat out does. There was another thing, where everybody was talking about Mitchell Trubisky being picked number one, and there was a bunch of black quarterbacks that went after him. Let me tell you something. Football, like all other sports, was predominantly white before African Americans came in, black people, whatever you want to call us. I prefer black. But when basketball came in, basketball was jump shots and fucking layups. They didn't even invent the damn 3-point line until very long down the line. Basketball was pretty fucking simple and boring. I mean, they had systems, they were running things, but it was boring as fuck. Black people came in dunking and shit, doing shots that you ain't never seen before. When we put so much hype into that, it was like, all right, well, okay, damn, let them in, and this is what the fuck happened. Baseball, still a predominantly white sport, but now what has happened? The Dominicans took over that motherfucker. You see so many Latino people in baseball, man, they damn near took over. But where's the predominantly Caucasian spot? Pitching. Most of the pitchers you see are usually white. That's just very common. You know what I'm saying? So, golf. You had golf forever. Tiger came along and fucked that all up. Now it's kind of back, you got a few different people now. You have different races. You got Sergio Garcia, I think there's a little Asian dude that pops off every now and then. So it's still predominantly white. NASCAR, you ain't call a black NASCAR driver ever. And you probably won't ever see one. This is not going to happen. Motocross, you had Bubba. Bubba came in motocross. I think his little brother came in too and did some things. But that's what I'm saying. So when you say that, it's based off of the person that has the best resume, you need to be very mindful when you say that. Because there's a lot of people that have shitty ass resumes that kept getting jobs. And I can tell you right now, that number one person who kept getting a fucking job that just blew my mind was Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher was trash as a head coach. He was hot fucking garbage. The only time Jeff Fisher was relevant, I believe, was when he had Steve McNair, man. They had, the Houston Oilers and then to the Tennessee Titans. When they were playing in the early 2000s, they went to that Super Bowl and they lost because Eric Dyson just couldn't stretch long enough to get over that goal line. But that's when, Jeff Fisher wasn't really that great of a fucking coach. And he kept getting head coaching opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And he was trash. He lost for years on end. And they just didn't fire him. The only other coach I could say that was probably just as garbage as him and he was black was Marvin Lewis. But I think even Marvin Lewis was a little bit better of a head coach than Jeff Fisher. He never got to a Super Bowl. He barely even got out of the first round of fucking playoffs. But it just, that's what I'm saying. These opportunities are not afforded to people like me. So when you sit there and state that you feel like they're just choosing the best, person for the job, that's not true. If Mike Tomlin would have been on any other team, they probably would have fired him by now. The Steelers do not believe in changing head coaches like that. They had the dude before Bill Cowher, they had him forever. I can't remember his name. Then they had Bill Cowher for God knows how long. Bill Cowher won that Super Bowl. He was like, yo, I'm out this motherfucker. I'm good. That's what I've been waiting for. I got a Super Bowl. Bus got a Super Bowl. We good. We're done. Tomlin came in. He won a Super Bowl with Big Ben. So, he's been there. But the Steelers don't believe in change like that. Hell, Art Rooney was, the author of the Rooney Rule, basically saying, hey, you got to give these people a chance, man. That shit ain't right. Can't just sit up here and just be hiring everybody that's white and not giving nobody that's, black or Latino a chance. They don't really see many Asian head coaches in anything, really, save for probably soccer, and that's usually with their own country. But that's what I'm saying. Like you can't say that and be oblivious like that and just think that really, like that shows that you are really an unfortunately shallow person, and shit flies right by your fucking face and you don't even see it. Shit go over your head all the time. You have to be smarter than that, people in this world. So the good news is they're opening up the facilities, and hopefully, as long as everything continues to go in the right way with the contingency plans that are in place, we can get the season rolling at the right time. Bad news is that they are basically incentivizing you to hire African American and Latino people based, minorities in general, based on upping your goddamn draft pick. Y'all just can't hire these people because they're good for the job. Y'all can't hire them based off track record. Y'all can't hire them based off their resume that they bring in there, which is probably better than the white dude that you gonna bring in there. But you still hire him. You still hire him just because he's white. That doesn't add up. That's just stupid, and it's dumb that somebody would even do that. Whoever thought of incentivizing that should be kicked in the fucking teeth. That's dumb as shit. Yes, it gives you a free opportunity, but it only gives you an opportunity because they're getting something out of it. They're not hiring you because you a damn good coach. They're gonna hire you because you bringing a draft pick up for the third round or the first round, which is ass backwards. Why are you fucking with the draft picks? You know what I'm saying? Because somebody hired somebody black or Latino or or a minority in general. That don't make no goddamn sense. You don't mess with the draft picks. You leave the draft picks alone. You let people pick where they are. That's what they got. That's what they have to deal with. But I'm gonna end this video with that. I'll be back with more content. It's time to evaluate some position groups and let you know what's going on. Some of these position groups don't need to be evaluated. Like quarterback, there's no evaluating that. It's Jimmy G and Nick Mullins. Period. Point blank. That's it. It's there's no question about that. I believe that they cut CJ Beathard because I don't think you can stash him on the practice squad anymore. But I believe they cut CJ Beathard because it's just dumb to keep three quarterbacks there. You don't need him sucking up a roster spot when we can have another guy, especially when they open up 2 extra roster spots. But the thing that scares me is Shanahan, being the guy that he is sometimes. He can't let go of players, and he has these fucking attachments sometimes. And he might just go ahead and be like, "Oh, CJ, yeah, you don't have to go. No, don't worry, guy. We're going to keep you on squad. We'll keep 3 quarter. You don't need 3 quarterbacks, Kyle. You need 2. You need a starter and a viable backup. And you have that in Jimmy and Nick Mullins. It's time for CJ to go bye-bye. He does not need to be here. I know he's like that favorite toy from when you were a kid and you just want to hold on to it and you don't want to let it go. But sometimes you got to get that toy to the Salvation Army or to the Goodwill. Somebody else can enjoy that toy and they can have fun with it. Just the same as you did. But CJ ain't no damn starter, and he ain't worth wasting a goddamn roster spot on him. I'm sorry. Anybody that feels that he is, it is what it is. I'll be back with more content. We're going to get into some of these areas because they do need to be evaluated, reevaluated, so to speak. Especially this wide receiver room. It's so fucking deep. And at the same time, we got to talk about the D line. Don't really need to talk too much about the DBs. Maybe a little bit of safety, but we got some competition. Training camp hopefully will go on as scheduled, people. I'm banking on training camp most likely coming to Arizona because California is so far behind the damn curve and they are so scared over there that they are going to take their time opening up. Hopefully they can stay as safe as possible, get themselves back on track because I would love to go to a 49er home game. If not, I am perfectly content waiting until they bring themselves to Arizona, going to Cardinal Stadium, and taking over that as we always do. Y'all stay faithful. Y'all stay blessed. Have a great evening.